And then you take this money that comes to you from poor black women in the ghetto, and you don't use none of that money to rebuild the ghetto. You don't use none of that money to empower the ghetto. You don't use none of that money to employ our children. You don't use none of your Jesus money. You are not using Jesus's money to serve Jesus's children. You are buying homes in white neighborhoods. You buying airplanes. You going on fancy vacations. You Negroes are driving Mercedes Benzes, Cadillac trucks, BMWs. You are wearing $5,000 suits, $2,500 suits, $1,000 suits. You wearing $100,000 watches. I'm not saying anybody should be robbed. I am not saying anybody should be robbed. I'm saying if you are bold enough to walk into a black ghetto, claim you are about the community. If you are bold enough to walk into a black ghetto and claim you are about the community, drive an expensive luxury car, wear luxury clothes, luxury watch, luxury shoes, and you claim to be doing the Lord's work, and we don't see the community benefiting at all. We don't see the community benefiting at all. We don't see the black community benefiting at all from the money that the black church takes from the ghetto. I hate to say it. We are in an economic crisis. We are in an economic crisis. And these young black brothers in our cities are sick and tired of watching the pastor live high up on the hog while he struggles. Black churches, please get you some security. Black churches, please get you some security. Black churches, please get you some security. And I want to say this. I'm talking to my beautiful black women. I'm talking to my church-going sisters, my church-going mothers, my church-going queen mothers. Listen to me, ladies. Listen to your brother, Dr. Umar. If you go to a church that does not have security, if you go and worship at a church where there is no security, if you go and worship at a church that doesn't have any armed guards, you go to a church that doesn't have a security force, don't go back to church no more. Find you another church. You cannot afford to be traumatized, beaten, or robbed at gunpoint because your pastor isn't security conscious. Black woman, listen to me. There were children in that church in Brooklyn today. There were children in that church in Brooklyn today. Those children might be forever traumatized by what they saw. Post-traumatic stress disorder is real. Post-traumatic stress disorder is real. And I don't want to see no black woman traumatized. I don't want to see no black elders traumatized. I don't want to see no black children traumatized. Stop going to church that do not take your security seriously. Don't go to churches that don't take your security seriously. We are living in an economically desperate time. We have a whole generation of young black men and women. We have a whole generation of young black men and women who don't have a problem killing or stealing. Let me say it again. We got a whole generation of black children who don't have a problem killing or stealing in order to eat to live. And as you saw in Brooklyn today, they are willing to come into your church on Sunday and rob you. They are willing to come into your church on Sunday and rob you. They are willing to come into your church on Sunday and rob you. And I want to say this to the black church. I don't want no harm to come to no church or no church goers, no church leaders. I want you to get security. Stop being so damn cheap. How you got $100,000 car and you ain't got no security in your church? How you living in a $500,000 home in a white suburb and you ain't got no security for your church? How you got $100,000 Rolex watch? You got on a $100,000 Rolex watch and you ain't got no security? I don't understand this. You got on a $5,000 suit and you ain't got no security. Let me say this. My security at my events is not there mostly for me. My security at my events is there for the people. Security ain't about you, pastor. Security ain't about you, bishop. Security ain't about you, deacon. Security ain't about you, deaconess. Security is to protect the people who come out to support you. When I go to Toledo, there will be security to protect the people who come to see me. When I go to Cleveland, there will be security there to protect the people who came to see me. Security is to protect the people who come to see you. How you got all this money and all this expensive jewelry and you ain't got no damn security? I thought we learned from Dylan Roof, Charleston, South Carolina, 2015. I thought we learned from Dylan Roof, Charleston, South Carolina, 2015. I thought we learned from Dylan Roof, South Carolina, 2015. Now let me go deeper. Let me go deeper. What I'm about to say does not apply to every church. What I'm about to say does not apply to every church. What I'm about to say does not apply to every church. But I do want to say this. You have black churches that have been pimping the black community for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Let's be honest. The black church is a multi-billion-dollar institution. We give the black church $3 billion on average every Sunday. Excuse me, $3 million. The black church receives $3 million every Sunday in America, collectively speaking. 50 states, 50 million Africans. 50 states, 50 million Africans. 50 states, 50 million Africans. If we are giving the black church $3 million every Sunday, and you ain't got no schools, $3 million every Sunday, you ain't got no jobs. $3 million every Sunday, you ain't got no banks. $3 million every Sunday, you ain't got no hospitals. $3 million every Sunday, you ain't got no supermarkets. If the black community is giving the black church $3 million every Sunday, and the black church isn't doing anything for black people, you can make the argument. I'm not making the argument, but you can make the argument, and I'm not making the argument. You can make the argument that karma is coming to the black church for practicing capitalism instead of spirituality. I said, you can make the argument that karma is coming to the black church because you have been practicing capitalism instead of spirituality? Is karma coming to the black church because you've been practicing capitalism over spirituality? Let's be honest. How many black churches are helping black men get jobs? How many black churches are helping homeless black women find housing? How many black churches are stopping the violence in the neighborhood? How many black churches are helping people build businesses? How many black churches are fighting against racism and systemic oppression? What has the black church done in America since Dr. King? What has the black church done in America since Dr. King? What has the black church done in America since Dr. King? These young brothers and sisters, what they call them, Generation Z? Somebody help me out. Is this Generation Z? I think we up these Generation Z. They don't give a damn about what you preaching. They don't give a damn about what you teaching. All they see is the pastor eating, his wife is eating, his family is eating, the bishop is eating, the deacon is eating, and his family is starving. The black church is no longer off limits. I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy about that. I don't want to see crime and robbery in the black church. What happened in Brooklyn today was unacceptable. What happened in Brooklyn today was a travesty. No black pastor should be robbed while preaching, but it speaks to the fact the Brooklyn robbery today in church speaks to the fact that the black church has turned its back on the black community. And because the black church has turned its back on the black community, the children of the community are now targeting the black church for economic justice. The black church has turned its back on the black community, and now the children of the black community is targeting the black church for economic justice. You better stop coming to church with your Rolex on. You better stop pulling up in a Mercedes. You better stop driving through the hood with a damn Cadillac truck. Them days is over. The pastor is no longer safe from community violence. The church is no longer safe from community violence. I'm sorry this is happening. I'm sorry the pastor got robbed. And I'm not judging him because I don't know him. But we all know every city got pastors who are hustling the community. Chicago got pastors hustling the community. Philadelphia has pastors hustling the community. Los Angeles has pastors hustling the community. Florida, North Carolina, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Maryland, Connecticut, New York. Every black community has a handful of parasitic black churches. They exist to exploit the money from the people. You have black churches whose sole purpose is to get as much money as they can. And the children of the 21st century, Generation Z, the millennials, they are ready to collect. Brooklyn is only the beginning, and I'm telling black women right now, I'm telling black elders, don't take your children to church if there's no serious security. You cannot afford to go to church if there is no serious security. You cannot go. And I want to fault every pastor in America. I'm going to fault every black pastor in America who is asking black people to come worship in your church, and you don't even care enough about those black people you're asking to come worship in your church to have security for them. If I can have security at my events for the people who come out to support me, you can have security in your church for the people who come out to support you. And you getting way more money than I am. It is no excuse for a black church not to be serious about protecting the life and safety of the black people who come out to support them. The black church is no longer off limits. That pastor got robbed for almost $500,000 in jewelry. It's a new day in black America. Y'all better start locking the front doors to the church. You better start locking the back doors of the church, because let me tell you, and again, I'm going to thank those brothers, not for robbing the pastor, but I'm going to thank them for not harming